Hello and welcome, Northwood University alumni and friends. My name is Julia Damchek, and I am your webinar host today. We're kicking off the 24-25 school year with a webinar featuring Northwood University President Kent MacDonald. Kent is now stepping into his 6th year as Northwood University President. Earlier this summer, we hosted an event called the President's Freedom Celebration, where President MacDonald shared his State of the University address. And we are here today to share that same message with you and some additional thoughts. Before I hand it over to President MacDonald, let me remind everyone that we are recording, so this will be sent out via email to everyone afterwards. And hopefully we'll have time today for some Q&A at the end. So remember to use your Q&A feature. Without any further ado, I'll hand it over to President Kent MacDonald.
Great, Julie. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I see a note from Kim asking about sound, but we'll work through that, Kim, in case you don't have it. And it's a great time to be on campus. I'm looking out the window. It hasn't become that busy yet, although we do have some students here. A lot of our student athletes have returned about 10 days ago, many of them. But tomorrow is a really big day with our first year students coming onto campus. I'll come back and share with some news, and then other returning students at the end of the weekend. But as alum and supporters, you should know a few things about this year. Number one is the campus is absolutely looking wonderfully. We have been able to do some investments on campus. I'll touch on that in a few minutes, and we have had another second wonderful year of recruiting because I had a meeting this morning, and someone was asking me about what I'm seeing on university campuses, and number one is we're seeing more and more, particularly in the Midwest, Northeast, enrollment declines. And like any line of business, if the customers or clients, or in our case students, don't decide to purchase your product for whatever reason, that puts the institution in a really precarious position. So as alum, it's really important for you to know a few things. Number one is that our enrollment continues to grow. We will have the same incoming numbers of first-year students this year, which is around 400. But on top of that, we continue to see growth in our graduate school, the DeVos School. We continue to see growth in online. We're tracking ahead of both of those this year. And Mary Ellen and I just got back from a quick trip to our campus, our International Program Center in Sri Lanka. So I want to touch on international by saying we're continuing to see an uptick there as well. So the fundamentals of Northwood, as you read some institutions suffering right now, and I predict that we're going to continue to see a shakeout. We're going to see more closures occur. Your alma mater has been doing extremely well. And I'm surrounded by just incredibly talented people who are all committed to drive Northwood into even greater days ahead. What are some of the ways that we're able to do that? I have talked about this before, that well before my time, going back really into David Fry, and we lost David over the last year, so our thoughts are with him. Northwood does not have debt. So I have conversations with other university presidents, and with uncertainty around interest rates and just some decreases in revenue. That is because of falling enrollment at many institutions. They're spending a lot of time on figuring out how they're going to manage through their debt that they have taken on. And Northwood does not have debt. From a cash point of view, Northwood continues to have very strong cash flow as well. And so those less exciting but fundamental things, particularly as a business school, you need to know that we're in great shape, not only on paper, but it's allowed us to do some reinvesting in Northwood and being able to get at some things that we haven't been able to touch on previously. So let me just highlight kind of where we are and what's taking a little bit of our attention, all for good reasons. Number one is um, we had the President's Freedom Celebration in June. And by the way, the 2025 President's Freedom Celebration, I expect it to also be sold out. So keep an eye on that and join us. It's going to be fantastic again. At this PFC, we were able to announce not one, but two individuals coming forward, one representing a great company we've had a long relationship with, Reynolds and Reynolds, who gave us and donated $5 million. That same evening, an incredibly generous and successful alumnus living in Florida, but with business operations here in Michigan, Dr. Alan Wildstein, also made public that he was giving $5 million back to his alma mater. With those funds, we are in a position now that we have commenced this work, that our long history in leading and preparing people for the multi-billion dollar automotive industry, we are putting a significant reinvestment into our automotive area with a $15 to $17 million capital infrastructure, where most of you remember the NADA hotel to be in those classrooms. We're looking at a significant renovation there and turning the 29 hotel rooms as well as classroom spaces, but those 29 classrooms, hotel rooms into probably 6, 7, 8 suites. We're working with an architect now. So in a couple of years, when you come on campus, you have a choice to spend time in Midland at one of the many great hotels, or stay right here on this campus in suites that are probably going to be 300, 400, 500 square feet. So our commitment to the automotive area, you're going to hear more of this related to a new center called the Center for Automotive and Mobility Studies, or CAMS. So new academic programming, we're hiring new faculty right now. We have this major capital infrastructure. We're growing our university, the aftermarket activity. We're growing graduate work in the automotive area. And all of that is coming together really nicely under the CAMS portfolio. And if you come to the auto show this year, we're going to be able to have some really exciting announcements about where that's at. I'd also encourage you to come a day earlier, where we're putting together a really interesting academic forum that will go into the auto show. And if you're interested in strategy, not only in the automotive industry, leadership, not only in the automotive industry, come join us for that day, and keep an eye on the website. So rededicating ourselves to automotive is a really important priority for us. I have said since I arrived that all of us are important. The people who work in part-time and as a custodian, to our full-time staff. But a university can only be great if we have continued to find great faculty. We've had several new hires over the last year, but what's really exciting for us is, again, because of donors, we are committing new positions. I met with Dr. Stayhauer just this morning, and you're going to be reading about 4 really important hires in the area of information technology, in leadership, in automotive, and in finance under the David Fry economic chair. And those 4 endowed professorships, in behind all of those are millions of dollars that will pay for the individual salary, not from a cash flow burn rate point of view, but we endow those dollars, and those funds are there in perpetuity. So again, from an alum point of view, for you to understand that as we do this hiring, we're doing it in a way that's self-sustaining by raising money from really important supporters, like many on this call, and then reinvesting it through our board investment committee, and then we get a payout of about 4.5%, and we use those dollars to hire these new professors. And Kristen, Dr. Stayhauer, is just really excited about those opportunities to continue to bring in great new minds and professors and researchers, of which we've been doing a great job over the last few years. There was one announcement that some of you may have heard of this morning, and we felt that it was important to do even more to present Northwood, not only to Michigan, not only to the Midwest, but across the country and around the world. And you can do that in a number of ways, marketing and long-term, through good faculty and your reputation. There's other ways as well, and that is, how do we go out and find an individual or people who fit the Northwood idea, who believe in these fundamental things that we do, which is not always common on some university campuses today, but an unapologetic focus on capitalism, on free enterprise, the fact that we need less government, not more government in our life, not no government. We need government and structures and all the good that the public sector does. At Northwood, as you know, we just believe you need less in doing that. And so another aspect that we have seen on campuses is the antithesis of what a university campus is meant to do, and that is to allow people to debate things and discuss things and seek the truth and do it in a civil way. And unfortunately, that's not happening on many campuses today. And at Northwood, we want to make sure it continues. So this morning at 9:30, we announced the hiring of a visiting professor and also a global ambassador for the Northwood idea. In fact, I happen to have one of his books. He's written hundreds of articles, has a CV of over 40 pages in length, and he's a deep believer in what we believe at Northwood. He's one of the few people that have been on the Joe Rogan podcast 10 times. He's spent time with people like Elon Musk, Jordan Peterson, and others. And so his name is Gad Saad. He has written this book called The Parasitic Mind. He's writing another corollary book to it called related to organizations. And so Gad is going to be on our campus as a visiting professor. You're going to see him at different events that Northwood is hosting. But if I could just give you a little bit of insight about what this book is about and why we thought it was important to bring Gad onto this campus, not only to do some teaching for us, but to be that global ambassador. I'll just read a short section here, if you bear with me. When we think of a pandemic, we often conjure images of deadly infectious diseases that spread rapidly across countries, causing unimaginable human suffering, the Black Death, Spanish influenza, AIDS, COVID crisis, etc. The West is currently suffering from such a devastating pandemic, a collective malady that destroys people's capacity to think rationally. Unlike other pandemics where biological pathogens are to blame, the current culprit is composed of a collection of bad ideas, get this, spawned on university campuses that chip away at our edifices of reason, freedom, and individual dignity. And it goes on. Look, if I could encourage you to read a book, it would be this one. And I would ask you to think about joining us, the other many dedicated faculty that we have on the campus, but also for Dr. Saad when he's doing different sessions, either on campus or across the country. And so we're extremely pleased with him in joining us. Two other quick items that I want to leave you with that are in addition to our continued focus on academics and hiring the right faculty and providing an even more beautiful campus. And the next time you're on campus, you need to see some of the infrastructure changes. I mean, these are things you don't need to have a great university, but young people today are looking for facilities and in our world, just a peaceful place that they can live and learn and gather with other people. And so you'll see a number of infrastructure updates. But one of the strategic things that we have said is, if we're like any line of business, we need to continue to innovate and bring new product out to the market. And so that's what we're doing right now. The academic team is preparing a new strategy, but one of the things you're going to hear about is the development of a new school. So we have all of our programming now, business and technology related, all together. We have an incredible DeVos school for graduate studies. We have a great online presence, and we have international activities. But we do think it would be prudent to further grow and innovate around technology related to STEM. STEM is an acronym for science, technology, engineering, math. And so something in that relate those related fields, our academic area is working on those things, bringing together the technologically or science-oriented programs that we already have, and then asking what else do we need to do that can drive business forward in the technological space. So more analytics and a better use of technology. Where does AI fit into this? And so this new school that Kristen and the academic team are working on, I think, is going to be tremendously important for us. One, it keeps us relevant. And number two is it continues to be appealing to young people who are more and more interested in going down the technology or STEM route, but dressed by business acumen that we are expert in, and that's something also that employers are looking for more and more. So that would be the fourth key thing I would leave you with. And the fifth one is this is an invitation. So I mentioned earlier the passing of David Fry. You know, the average university president these days lasts for about 6 years. It used to be 10, 12, 14. David served with distinction as president for nearly a quarter of a century. So it was a heartbreaking loss when he passed away. And you don't do this work unless you have an incredible partner. And he had one in Claudia Fry. And Claudia would over 20 times invite alumni and parents and supporters of the Northwood to join her on some type of international activity. And so it's something that Mary Ellen, and getting to know that wonderful lady, Claudia, she said, you know, that's something that I think we should be doing. So next summer, we're going to bring back, and not internationally, but we have to get across one country. We're going to start in Canada, in Vancouver, and go up to Alaska on a beautiful Alaskan cruise on a preeminent smaller boat. There will be a combination of friendship, but also we'll have some academic lectures. We'll have different guests speaking, and we'll be able to explore that beautiful, beautiful part of the country together, and look at ecological things, sustainability things, and do it all together as a Northwood family. So Julie has that information. I would really encourage you to join us. It's in July of next summer, and gives you lots of time to plan for it. So let me just summarize, and then we can take some questions. A campus, a university is only as strong as the most recent graduating class. And you need to know that Northwood continues to attract exemplary students who care about their country, who are smart and dedicated people, who believe in the values that made this the greatest republic that we've ever known to humankind, and who actually care about things. So enrollment is going up. These are strong students. They're virtually every single one of them is getting employment as they walk out here across the graduation stage. That then is because of our outstanding faculty, our relevant programming, and you put all of those things together on a campus in the woods that is peaceful and civil and caring about one another. It's a complex solution to come up with, but we have it here at Northwood, and that's why we're seeing increases in not only student demand, but donor kindness and giving to the university. So we're in good shape there. The campus looks great, and I just strongly encourage all of you to stay involved in Northwood. You know, we have as many alum right now as some of these big schools across the country have as students on their campus right now. And so we rely heavily on you to promote the university, to think about giving up a coffee or some other investment to give back to the university. And I'd encourage all of you, I'm unapologetic in asking for people to give back to the university, and in any amount, but doing it every year, and everyone doing that, it will allow us to reinvest in this gem of a university, and there's not many of us left. So that act and serve the way Northwood does. So I'll stop there, Julie. I look forward to seeing people on campus, maybe as during the startup, maybe it's at Auto Show or at one of the various events that we're going to have across the state and country. And so please come and join alumni events. We can't wait to see you. So over to you, Julie, and happy to take questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Kent. So yes, we're open for Q&A. There should be a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. So feel free to post some Q&A there. I guess some save the dates, a few things that we already talked about today. So PFC, President's Freedom Celebration, save the date, June 12th, 2025. So if you're interested in joining us for that event, we welcome you. And coming up really quick here is our auto show. Auto show this year, Auto Show Homecoming is October 3 through 6. So join us for that. That weekend we'll host the Alumni Awards, the Auto Show Gala, the auto show itself, many athletic events, football, soccer, volleyball. So hopefully we'll see some of you, most of you on campus that weekend. Still waiting for some questions. You may have answered them all, Kent. Nothing yet. Oh, David Purvis. Hi, David. Please share the book name and author. So go ahead.
Yeah. So David, thanks. Hope you're well. So this is the name of the book, The Parasitic Mind. And so if you write that down, and the author's name is Gad Saad, and so he not only is he renowned in terms of his research related to marketing, but he is incredibly clear in terms of what he sees happening on other campuses today, and he will be able to share a lot of those things on our campus. So when he does do a session, maybe it's one of our leadership insight sessions or some type of event off campus, I'd encourage you to join us. And he's a genuinely warm person, and he complements what I think Kristen and the academic team, what our faculty are doing right now, is just fantastic. We're attracting a great new faculty, and the existing faculty continue to do really, really important work. So Gad will be a great addition to that.
I agree. Vice President Murray Kite did add, if you follow Northwood on our social media platforms, you'll see some direct links to GAD. The press release did go out this morning, so you'll be receiving something in your inboxes, and if you follow us on social, you should see that the information that went out today. Marge, hi Marge Holman. She's asking what cruise line we are using for your Alaskan cruise. I believe it is Seabourn.
It is, yes.
Yeah, so that is an ultra luxury cruise line, Seabourn. And we'll put a link to that information in our email that we send out to everyone today with the webinar recording. So you'll all have that direct link. Nicholas Busker, alumni. Hi, Nick. In leading Northwood, what are some things that have surprised you about Northwood alumni, students, or faculty?
It's great, Nick. Nick, before I get to that, I see that Tim's made a comment in terms of staying as president. So presidents serve for 5 or 6 years generally, and so I was blessed at the President's Freedom Celebration to announce with our board chair Jennifer Panning that I have just am so lucky to be able to have an opportunity to serve a second term. So that's actually started August 1st. So thank you for that, Tim. Nick, your question, so I would say the most interesting thing is when you look at this relatively small university in a relatively small place, some would say somewhat isolated. The thing that surprised me, I think, the most is the success and the reach that Northwood has through its alum and through the supporters. I I just got back from Sri Lanka. I met with some students there. I spent some time in the Netherlands at a graduation, 2 graduations this summer. And there's this consistent kind of message that people share with me is that many of them didn't know about Northwood when they came, that they feel strongly in terms of our values and what we represent. And look, I've said this a lot of time that if you don't believe in free enterprise and limited government and all of those things that we stand for, that's okay. Because there literally is over 4,000 other universities that you can choose to go, or colleges. So this connection that we have, it sometimes, happens at a smaller university, just the nature of being at a small school. But Northwood goes further than that because I think it's a consistent level of values that we have, the things, our belief systems. There is, look, I challenge anyone to name one university that has a third of its graduates that own or co-own their own company. So what does that? It doesn't mean you have to own your own company, but there's something special that occurs here on this campus that either prepares people to start their own company or to lead in some type of organization. And I think it's this sense of building confidence and giving people the ability to dream. And every time, recently I've been speaking to students. I spoke to a large group of international students today. I say, if you have this dream, why not you? Why does it have to be someone else at a bigger school? Why can't it be you to go out and start that company? Or why can't it be you to move into that leadership role? So it's just an unbelievable sense of success that Northwood grads have had, this common view of seeing the world, the being independent, and I wasn't really expecting that as much as I've realized it. That wherever I go, I just have felt those same types of things, and there's this common bond that we all have, and that's really, really, really special.
Thanks. Question from Jeff Cawley. Hi, Jeff. Have you considered an association with Candace Owens or having her on campus for a talk?
So what I try to do, Jeff, is encourage our faculty to engage in these types of things. I know I listened to Candace. I personally really enjoy her. I disagree her recent position that she's taken on a couple of items, but I think she's a brilliant mind. She is a limited government thinker, and if we could get her to come to campus, I think it would be wonderful. What's important, and the reason I say that I disagree with some of her things, that's first of all just normal. Who agrees with everything? And number two is I'm trying in a serious way to demonstrate that Northwood is a place that you can actually come and have differences of opinions and talk about those and leave the campus still being friends and collegial to one another. And it's something that I reminded our international students this morning, be it Candace or some other individual, if it was someone who took a more left, even socialist point of view, this is a campus that should be able to invite someone and welcome them here and listen to them politely and have a good debate, and then we all go home. Because that really is what a university is meant to do. So I have not reached out in any way to Ms. Owens, but if we had the opportunity to bring her here and hear her thoughts, I think our students and alumni and supporters would probably really enjoy that. If anyone has links or access to some of these people, we would love to hear from you, because look, if you're in Detroit, you're in New York, Chicago, LA, it's easy to find people. It's harder to find them in Midland, and yet our students still want to hear from these people. I'll say one more thing, Jeff. There is something called the Leadership's Insights, a view from the helm. We've had a number of tremendous speakers. We'll have 3 or 4 of those again this year, and have a look for the Leadership Insight sessions. They're online as well, but we'd love for you to come to campus. And who knows, maybe Candace will join us. I use her name as if I know her, but I wish I did.
All right, we're going to wrap it up with one more question. This is Maria Donadio. She is class of 2013. She's inquiring about, has campus improved its handicap accessibility since she has been here in 13?
Yeah.
I'm sure I might have to follow up with you with some very specifics, but Kent, you can probably share a few.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to. It's when I talk about inclusion, it for me, it doesn't take on a political role. It means, how do you make anyone feel that they belong here, they're welcomed, and you put things in place to make them feel comfortable. I had a late younger sister who spent the last 10 years of her life, and it was through that lens. And it's also area of Mary Ellen's PhD is accessibility and services, to people with various exceptionalities. So I'll answer it in 2 ways. Number one is, every new building structure that we put in place, we make accessible, and according to the regulations, and even beyond that, as I look out at the mall walk and the new areas of infrastructure, all of those have ramps and handrails, etc. The challenge when you have older buildings is 15 years ago, we knew some of this. 50 years ago, we weren't thinking this way. So we have, for example, football bleachers that last year I received a note from a daughter who was about my age. So she would take her dad in his 80s to a game, and he was having trouble coming to the games because there was no hand railings. So immediately we put hand railings in place. Where we need to put ramps or make things more accessible by either elevators or the portable type of systems. We've invested in those as well. It's not perfect yet, but I do have a sense that those people with some type of mobility impairments do find Northwood a relatively better place to come. Maria, if you come to campus and you point out some things that we should be thinking about doing, we'd love to get that feedback as well from you. So not only the physical limitations, but I'll also add that we're launching this year. We're getting away from hard books and we're doing more digital platforms. And one, it's less costly for our students. And number two, if you have some type of auditory or visual challenges, we think that we can provide a better learning environment for you doing it that way as well. So we've looked at not only the infrastructure, but the learning experiences and trying to make Northwood, again, a really inclusive place to be.
All right. Well, I think we have hit our time limit today, and I don't see any additional questions. So I just want to thank everyone for participating today. We certainly wouldn't be as successful as we are without all of your support and participation. Thank you, Kent MacDonald, for sharing your thoughts with us today, and look forward to seeing everyone in person soon. If not in person, join us online again in September for our next webinar. And thank you again.
Thanks, everybody. Come see us.